Hi, this is Eileen. Thank you for your time. I'd like to start by introducing you to Startup Sally. She's the hardworking humanitarian who believes that a localized effort is how the ripple happens. She's the persona I developed throughout the research portion of this project, in which we identified goals, frustrations, and motivations of our users. Startup Sally is an entrepreneur that's in the early development stages of her platform. Philanthropy has always played a major role in her personal life, and she's always known that she wanted those human values to reflect in her business endeavors. She heard about Pledge 1% Colorado at Denver Startup Week, and after hearing their presentation, she began to wonder how Pledge 1% Colorado could help elevate her company's CSR in a way that is both beneficial and doesn't take time away from building her empire. She decided to visit the website and see what it's all about. Welcome to the new Pledge 1% Colorado website, featuring bold, vibrant colors on a minimalistic layout that creates a linear flow which both guides the user and increases conversions. Sally gets to the landing page and feels inspired by the images. It reminds her of how much she loves her hometown and how much she enjoys hiking and exploring. She notices the logo is a clickable link and follows it to the site menu. She starts off by selecting About Us to learn more about Pledge 1% Colorado's mission. Sally is directed to the site and starts to sort through the About Us section. She gets to the subsection titled Who We Are, reads about Matt, and selects the flip card about the Community Foundation. Sally reads about the organization's relationship and ties to the Community Foundation. Since she's heard of them before, she decides to move on to the board and members flip card and chooses to read more about the people behind the impact. She arrives at the members page and immediately gravitates toward the member slider. She was impressed at seeing large companies like Oracle and Techstars on the list and thinks to herself, if companies like this pledged, it must be a good idea. The organization's credibility is immediately supported by its network. She then glances over at the Founders Event section and imagines herself being a part of it, rubbing elbows with the Joneses of the local tech scene. This is important to Sally as she's trying to get her name out there and meet new people within the field. This is important. She continues to read on and scan the board advisors and checks out the Member Spotlight section, which she hopes to be on someday since she's short on time. She decides to go back to the main screen to learn more about the impact. As she scans the data, she notices that one of the highlighted benefits of pledging is the ability to be part of Pledge 1% Colorado's exclusive network. She recalls the founders event she read about and shakes her head out of an ensuing daydream. She continues on and scrolls through the news slider. She clicks on a few articles but only reads one before she decides to move on. She's pretty excited about making a difference and growing her network in an effortless way, so she continues onward to the How section of the page to find out how she can get involved. She scrolls through the product flip cards and determines that time and equity are the ones that best fit her current needs. She decides to follow her instincts and selects the Pledge Now button. Sally fills out her personal information. She then selects her products of choice and decides to also check off the box to donate to Pledge 1% Colorado's mission. She hits the submit button and feels instant gratification when the onboarding modal pops up. She scans it for the next steps and closes it out. She can't believe she was able to complete the pledge process in the same amount of time it took her to indulge in her packed lunch. As she waits for the documentation, style guide, and Slack invite to hit her inbox, she can go on with her day as scheduled. Alternative flows. At step 14, Sally could also decide that she still isn't sure which products are best fit for her and decides to select the Sign Me Up button to register for a virtual Q&A with Matt. A Calendly page opens and she selects an available date and time that works best for her hectic schedule. She was pleasantly surprised that there were several options and that she could work it in throughout her day without having to leave her office. Secretly, she also knows she could multitask during that Q&A and knock out some simple work as she learns more about the pledging process. She receives the meeting confirmation, feedback, and adds it to her calendar. She feels satisfied with her experience and the availability of support offered by Pledge Percent One Colorado. And this is what the mobile site would look like. There are also things that you'll notice, such as my choice of accent color, which is this, I'm going to call it Colorado Red Rocks color. It's rusted sandstone, and I chose this color for various reasons. One of them being that the color can bring about joy, it can bring about thoughts of happiness and passion, and there were also some tests conducted by a couple universities around the world in regards to conversions based on button colors. So they did the typical green, which means go, versus this red button, and they found that the red button got a lot more hits. So red is actually a more viable color for conversions, in this case for getting people to pledge. It gets them excited, it reminds them of the passion they feel and the joy, which was actually one of my design principles for this site, or one of my focuses was to bring joy to the users. I also wanted to highlight the organization's ties to the local community. It builds that trust, that brand loyalty, and it's like backlinking or backlinks on websites. The more, the larger that web is, the more that users are able to see what kind of impact or network you have. Also, I chose to highlight the engagement potential for Pledge 1% Colorado's network. I think the Slack channel would be a really great addition. It's free, most people use it, so they wouldn't have to go out of their ways or sign up for something else, which is one of the kind of frustrations that they have. They don't want to sign up for anything else. They don't want to get irrelevant emails, but they're already on Slack, talking to their team. So it would be an easy way to kind of be a part of their lives without having them take an additional step, or even so for yourself. Another thing was, I remember that you wanted to streamline the process of, giving information to people both in Boulder and in Denver, and being in two places at once is just not reasonable. So I was checking out a couple websites, and I saw that some of them offered a live Q&A where they kind of educated their users on their platforms. And I thought this would be a great solution for you, because you can host these from any location, and people from Boulder and Denver can both partake in those question and answer sessions. This would save you time. It would also limit the one-on-one meetings that you are having, which you can still offer to people if after the Q&A they still want a more personal touch. I just think that it would also be beneficial in terms of site automation and information collection for metrics, pledge features, and such. So after the Q&A sessions, you could also send out a Google form where you can even collect, more personalized data that you'd like. You can request one-on-one meetings and things like that through that form, which would be kind of a solution to what I mentioned before. And you could do something like you could do something like like the Calendly, for example. You could do a Calendly Pro. It's about $15 a month, so $180 a year, which is really well within that budget that we had talked about. And then you had mentioned that it would also be a great idea to have them not have to download anything. So on that last feedback page, I was thinking that we could have them. Let me just get through this really quickly. So you'll also notice that I added a portion where they can show their interest in supporting the mission by donating a percentage of the percent that they're donating to kind of help you guys sustain yourselves as an organization. So on here, you would let them know that they're getting all this information, and they'll be receiving a link through DocuSign to sign their personalized paperwork, which is also shareable, and you can include many people on there, such as their lawyers. So DocuSign Business Pro is about $40 a month, which comes out to about $480 a year. So the total of what I'm suggesting is very reasonable within the budget of 1 to 5,000. In addition to any development costs that you would have for putting the website together. But I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you have a wonderful day.